I'd like to say welcome to Something's Gonna Happen, and it could be good. All you people out there in podcast world, so glad for you to join us. Facebook Live, hi. And the studio audience, yay! Thank you so much. Oh, yeah, we have a latecomer there. All right, sing along if you know it. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen like we knew it would. I'll tell you what's gonna happen. We're gonna have Bruce up here and he's gonna talk about, how do you pronounce it? Spilanthes. We're gonna talk about Spilanthes. We're gonna have Bud Good and John. They're gonna play us some music. And we've got Hal and Liza from Rising Light and the Illumination Project. So we are so excited. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen like we knew it would. Oh yeah, well things will change and leaves will fall and it will rain. Transformed before your eyes, no time for chasing. Why me? Why'd that happen to me? Oh, you never know just how life is gonna go. You jump in your boat and row, row, row. Jump in your boat and row, row, row. All right, everybody in Facebook, sing it. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen like we knew it would. Woo! It's a little chilly out here today, but we got some sun. You can hear the wind whistling through the trees. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, you gotta aim high and go for your fly in the sky. Go ahead, trust yourself. Everything will right itself. Oh yeah, well life's a stream, so go ahead now, follow your dream. Jump in your boat and row, row, row. Jump in your boat and row, row, row. All right, live audience, let's hear you. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen like we knew it would. How's that for your little earbuds? All right. It's so wonderful to have this beautiful day. It was a big storm last night, and I was afraid we were going to be sitting in a puddle of cold ice. But we're over 65 degrees, and we have Bud Good, who's an amazing songwriter, and John Holt, who's going to be accompanying him. I would love for you all to join me on the stage. Come on up here. Bud Good. How are you, Bud? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Look, here we are in winter. Here we are in winter together with your little...
And it's Florida, yes,
yeah.
yes.
Hi, John Holt. How are you?
I am good, Laura Shepard. How are you,
I
young
am
lady?
delighted to have you here.
Well, I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to be anywhere. Actually.
Yeah. Well, John, you're such a fabulous accompanist. I know that you've done a few shows with myself and Lucy, and we always appreciated you.
That was always fun. I enjoyed that myself.
Yes, see? Because we know how to have fun. Bud, tell us something about yourself.
Oh, well, I'm here in Gulfport playing music. I do graphic design work.
You do graphic design work?
Yeah. That's
like for what sort of stuff?
Well, I work for a publisher, and we do several small papers. I do ads and flyers and page layout, and I do flyers for gigs, for musical gigs, and for events. I do the posters.
That's why
for
your flyers for your open mic events are always so fun.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Now we know the secret to his.
And I do the Gulfport Gecko Fest flyers and the Gecko Ball and Pub Crawl and all that, plus other stuff like that, and flyers and posters for individual people doing shows and events and stuff.
All right. So when did you start writing songs? Because you write very, very clever songs.
I started writing when I was a kid. And you know, I started and then I stopped and then I started again and played in bands and wrote songs during the 70s. And I moved to Austin, Texas, and was in the theater and have been ever since. And also wrote songs and musicals and played for shows and acted in shows. And I just keep, I've got like, my catalog now is like 6 albums of original material, including the soundtrack for a musical called Little Red, which I wrote back in the 80s, and was done a bunch of times in a number of theaters in Texas and in other states as well. So.
All right. Well, do you have a song picked out that you want to regale us with to start with?
Yeah, well, I'm going to sing a song, and then we're going to have John sing a song of his own creation. Since we're in Florida, and since it's so lovely and warm today, I'd like to sing a song about Florida.
I'm going to leave you all the stage. Go ahead.
Way down south in Florida, around about the end of July, all the alligators gathered together. No one seemed to understand why. They climb up on the blacktop, crawling straight your way, shoulder to shoulder, tail by tail. This will be the night they play. Hide your poodle, cut your jaw, better if you're not around. Grab your laundry, lock your car when the alligators come to town. Well, I recall one summer, some 20 years gone by, they overrun the pepper pot and scared the good guy blind. Yeah, they ate up all the poor boys, all the onion rings and coke. Pity that poor waitress when they ordered more to go. And putting on Miss Johnson's clothes, taken from the line, they climb into her pickup truck to cruise the strip downtown. Take it away. Well, brother, it's no different now than when I was a kid. The alligators still run wild just like they always did. Some folks still don't believe it. They shake their heads and frown. Seem they're always somewhere else when the alligators come to town. So if you're scared of reptiles, better find a safer home. It's cozy down here in the swamp, where the alligators roll. Da-do-da-ba-do-da-ba-do-day.
Oh my goodness. So wait, John, you're going to sing a song?
John's going to sing a song.
Okay, now
Of his own device.
I asked John if he wanted to be on the show. He said no. I just want to be in the background because John is an incredible musician. And now, Bud, what did you promise him to get him to play?
I made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
Okay, that's what it is. John, will you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm 65. I was born in Chicago. I have 3 kids. I've been married a few times.
And you have a
I guess they
lovely
have
wife
three
at the
kids who
present,
should
yeah.
be married a few times. No, I have a very nice wife, a lady named Ruthie, and we've been married 10 years. I live in Pasadena, and I'm retired now, so I kind of enjoy playing music a lot. And when I met you at Monja Gourmet a couple of years back,
Yeah.
I first met Laura as the Tree Lady because you sang a song about trees.
The Gulfport Tree Lovers
And
Club.
for probably a couple of months, I didn't know your name, so I referred to her as the Tree Lady.
Yeah, all you have to do to be a member of the Gulfport Tree Lovers Club is swear that you love a tree. So if you want to be, right now, anybody swear that you love a tree? There you go. New members inducted, no fees. Okay, carry on. All right,
Okay.
play us a song, John.
Okay. Wake up, you sleepyhead, little boy that we have bred. You're our little boy, and I'd like you to know. Know things that are good for you, like 1 and 1 is 2. Your mom and pa, they will always love you, this I know. Sometimes you just don't think much, don't think at all. Maybe soon we'll find a way, and you can understand us all, and you will understand us all. Hey boy, just how do you do? Did you know that God loves you? And Mom and Pa, they should love you too, this I know. Hey son, you're sure looking great. Have they shown you how to roller skate? Ride a bike, I bet you can't wait, this I know. Sometimes we just don't think much, don't think at all. Maybe soon we'll find a way, and you can understand us all, and you will understand us all. Sometimes you just don't think much, don't think at all. Maybe soon we'll find a way, you can understand us all, you will understand us all. Hey boy, just how do you do? Did you know God loves you? Your mom and pa, they should love you too, this I know. Your mom and pa, they will love you too, this I know. And Mom and Pa, they will love you too. This I know.
All right.
Thank you kindly.
Oh, thank you guys so much. Now, if you guys, Bud runs a lovely open mic at, what's it called? Peninsula?
Mid-Peninsula Seafood. It's 449th Street South on the border of Gulfport and St. Pete.
On the border.
On the border, yeah, yeah. And it's a Thursday nights from 6 to 9, and fish. And it's fish so fresh you'll want to slap it. And you know. And we usually have a full list of people wanting to play. Laura has played there, and we always love to have her there. And we invite you to come on out. It's every Thursday, 6 to 9.
All right. Now, we're going to get you back up here at the end of the show to play some more with us. Thank you for regaling us with those 2 numbers. Yay! All right. That was fabulous. All right. Now, we're going to have Bruce Sherman. Bruce Sherman, please join me on the stage. The chickens like the music. Did you notice that the chickens were really involved with the chickens were involved with the music. They still are. It's actually the roosters that we hear. Yeah, I love the roosters next door. It's one of the joys. Bruce, welcome.
Hello.
Yay! So, what do you want to share about yourself to start with? Now, Bruce is a multi-dimensional man, and
I'm just an artist.
he's just an artist.
Just an artist.
So we're going to talk about, you make these infinity boxes, you make some prints, and then we're going to spend a little time talking about this wonderful medicine that you make.
Yes.
So let's start with the infinity, a quick description of
Okay.
what an infinity box is.
Well, before the infinity stuff,
before.
like I used to do acoustic work. I call, my old paintings, they were kind of like, they weren't electrified. And then I got into the infinity effect, and it's
Acoustic
like all of
art,
a sudden
and now it's electric
a-
art. That's hilarious.
it became electrified. And then I got into, then actually what happened, I had an epiphany that it's all co-creation, because unless the muse was there, I couldn't do anything. So I'm co-creating with the muse, whoever, so I'm expressing my nature. So at one point I thought, maybe I should ask, Mother Earth to give me something to distribute besides my art. And I joined a group called the Fruit Tree Planting Foundation.
Wait, let me ask you something. When you say that you asked Mother Nature, how did you go about doing this asking? Did you ask out loud? Did you ask in your head? Did you get down on your knees? Did you figuratively ask?
I do a morning meditation, and, I distribute stickers. So it's like I give out stuff for the mind.
Oh, there
I'm
you go.
always
Does anybody in the
distributing.
audience need a sticker? Yes, okay, there's some
Everybody
sticker. Okay, we'll
gets
get some stickers on the way out.
Free stickers.
Yes, all right.
So I've been
carry
giving
on.
out free stickers for many, many years. Now I thought, it would be so nice to be able to give out something besides just stickers. So I found the Fruit Tree Planting Foundation. And I thought, I can give out fruit trees. How much more valuable is that? And at this time I was living in Hawaii. So there were it's easy to grow fruit trees in Hawaii, relatively. So I get into the Fruit Tree Planting Foundation. I started a community garden. And what really took off was my spilanthe plants. A fellow named Merlin had given me a spilanthe plant a few years previous. And so the spilanthes just took off. I'm picking spilanthe buds and I'm giving them out to the community and
These
everybody.
buds are really pretty. They're yellow and red.
They are. And not only that, it's called the electric daisy because it electrifies your mouth. It cleans your mouth. Depending on whether you want the AMA to get in your face or not, you can talk about all the medicinal qualities. If you go on websites in India, they're really all about it because it's one of these things, the ancient tribes in India and South America, this is their antibiotic. This is like what they use if they have a toothache. It's what they use if they want to treat malaria. It kills parasites.
So you only use it as a treatment. You don't use it regularly as a
They
preventative?
call it jungle echinacea. So if you take it all the time, just a little bit all the time, you don't get sick. I haven't been sick in 3 years since I
Well, there you
started
go.
taking this
But I will,
regularly.
and I think I've said this before. I've heard that echinacea, you're only supposed to take it if you're sick.
I know.
Oh,
I know.
geez. So now we're going to have to, we need
So
some
there's a
comments here.
debate.
Somebody
There's a
debate. There's a
debate.
debate. But so you would recommend taking a little bit of this.
I take it every day.
Okay, now out there in the audience, you're welcome to try some. It makes your mouth go what? What does it do for your mouth?
It electrifies your tongue. It's fun. It's like organic pop rocks.
Like organic pop rocks.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So if you take a little tiny bit, that's the safe zone. You know, if you take a lot, then you might feel like your lungs have numbed up and you can't feel your breathing, and then you have to do intentional breath for a few minutes.
Well,
So-
that sounds a bit
so-
dangerous.
It's not dangerous, it's just scary.
Oh, well, yeah.
You're right. So I've experienced that, and I don't recommend taking more than like a half teaspoon or a quarter teaspoon.
Right.
And I
How about, do
usually-
people brush their teeth with it?
It's easy to brush your teeth with it. It's more like a mouthwash after you brush your teeth. You know, I lived in Hawaii in the jungle, and there were some older than me, people in the jungle that had amazing tooth issues, horrible gum issues. And I gave them plants, and I started giving them the buds, and they came to me later like, wow, it's a miracle. My teeth are, everything's healing.
Wonderful.
So I know that it works for other people, and I know it's worked for me.
Yeah, smile. Let me see. Yay! He has a lovely mouth full of teeth. How do you actually make your preparation? You have a plant. How do we get from
Yes.
plant to preparation?
Okay, so I was giving out like about a quart of Spilanthe buds every week. My Spilanthes garden got very prolific, and I was giving out all these buds in the whole community. Everybody kind of knew me as the sticker guy, and then they knew me as the Spilanthe and sticker guy. And then I had all this Spilanthes one day, and it probably rained or something, so I decided to dehydrate them. And a friend of mine had given me a couple of jars, maybe a gallon of honey. We got a lot of major honey people in Puna, Hawaii. Used to, anyway.
Hello
So-
to the Hawaii friends.
Yes, Hawaii friends. I'll be back soon.
So you dried it and you had
Yeah,
honey.
so I dried it, I powdered it, I mixed it into honey, and I'm giving that out to everybody, and people wanted to buy it. So here, nobody had ever asked to buy a bud, but they wanted to buy this honey mixture. So I put it together, I found jars, I jarred it up, I'm about to go to the market with it, and I didn't have labels, so I thought, okay, next week I'm going to market with it. I go to market that day, and people are saying, oh my God, did you hear that in Leilani Estates, all these cracks are happening and there's fumes coming out of the cracks? And by the next week, lava was pouring out of those cracks.
Yeah.
So this was like a few miles from my house, and then this lava river started coming towards our property, and it made a hard right turn. So it went over a lot of great sites in our neighborhood, but it didn't hit my property, but I had to leave anyway. It was a little nerve-wracking, and there was a lot of fumes.
Yeah.
So I ended up coming to the mainland, staying with my sister up north, and selling my Spilanthes.
Well, there you go.
I ended up
So,
selling it at all over the place. People really
Bud
liked
and
it.
John, we're going to give you, Bruce is going to offer you guys a little jar of it to take home with you because
Yes.
we like to give our musicians a little present. So you can either, consume it yourself or pass it on to a health freak that you know.
And if you ever get a sore throat and you take a little of it, the sore throat's gone. You get it before a deep cold or flu comes in. If you get it that first day that you feel it might maybe coming, it doesn't hit.
It takes care of it.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's-
that is so amazing.
Really a wonderful medicine.
Do you
And I'm
have
not supposed to say medicine.
It's
I'm
not
sorry,
a medicine.
FDA.
It's not a, it's a plant,
Yes.
it's a plant,
It's an herb.
it's an
It's
herb.
an amazing herb.
Is it an herbal remedy? Can we call it an herbal remedy? Is that legal? Remedies, yes?
Probably.
Okay.
That's good.
It's an herbal remedy for everything.
Thank you. Thank you for
Yes.
having me on your show.
Yes. Can you can in about 3 minutes? Can you tell us a little bit about tell me something else? Would you like to talk about your artwork, or do we want to talk more about these plants or your spiritual development? Would you like to share with us about that?
Well, I kind of ran away from art school and joined an ashram when I was 20.
An ashram. What ashram? Do we care? We don't care.
Yeah,
We don't
some
care.
people don't
That's all right.
appreciate
That's all
that
right.
specific ashram. But
That's all right.
and then I went and ran away from the ashram and got back into my artwork, and I found it actually improved my artwork. I actually went to the ashram because I thought that I knew that, boy, art is an expression of your nature, so the more you clean your nature, the more you're going to be able to help the community. So that was kind of, the more I clean myself, the better of an artist, or the better, how would I put it, the better my art is for the community.
Well, there you go.
So
Are you happy?
Yeah.
Are you a happy person?
I'm generally pretty happy.
Okay.
I mean,
'cause-
so for the last 40 years, I've been editing out all of my, not all of them, but most of my self-destructive habits. So I end up being more and more joyful, I found.
Yay.
So that's my spiritual
And
ideas.
if people wanted to have one of these plants, where can you could buy them online,
You
or
can probably buy the seeds online, but boy, if you know somebody with a plant, say, if you cut that much off, you could stick that in soil and it propagates like
propagates
crazy.
itself.
Yeah, I planted this in June.
and it likes sunlight and water,
It's kind of marshy.
kind of marshy.
And these roots, it's like that root will give you the same kind of buzz, electric buzz. Now, talking about buzz, they say it has CBD
What?
with no THC. This is one of those plants that if you go on plants that have organic CBD naturally, Spilanthes and Echinacea are some of those plants. So it's potent, very powerful, lot of mana in this plant.
Okay, so we want to hear from anybody who's ever grown it, seen it, or plans to.
Yes.
Let's hear about you guys. All right, you have one more thing you want to tell us before you leave the
So
stage?
I've shared this with many, many people. All the herbalists I've shared it, maybe 1 out of 10 know about it. And all the plant people, it seems only 1 out of 10 people know about
Well,
it.
how'd you find out about it?
A fellow named Merlin.
Well, the wizard.
And he had a food forest that, next door, in the woods next door to the house that he was
Ah.
house sitting. So he developed this food forest, and he had all the herbs, including some that he had to take down when the helicopters came. But these really, this was something that, by then I had kind of gotten off of most of the medicines, but this was a medicine that it's like echinacea, but electric.
Electric echinacea, we like it. All right, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming and bringing a little gift for our artists and sharing your knowledge about this plant. And people can find you.
ShermanStudios.net. I swear I'm gonna renovate the website sooner than later.
Okay, but even the
don't-
unrenovated
Yeah.
website still keeps the rain out, is that?
Yeah, well, I've got my old art. I haven't changed it since before I went to Hawaii. So you get to see all my early stuff and some of my infinity lights. But I'll have I think I got a website called The Far More Suitable.
You think you have it?
Well, I
Oh,
think I
people,
got it.
we-
I haven't put anything on it yet.
Oh, my goodness.
But,
Well, darn. Okay, well, thank you
Soon.
so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to come and join us here.
Thank you.
Does anybody out there in Facebook land have some good news they want to share with us? Do we have any good news? Does anybody in the audience have some good news they're willing to share with us?
It's not raining.
It's not raining.
right
That's
now,
good news.
But it is raining enough for all the trees and plants to grow nice.
I know that rained yet last night. Actually, I thought that was good news because everything was quite dry. Anybody else have some good news they want to share with us? called Hard Times. Hard times, they go clickety-clack. Hard times, roll right past. Hard times, think of the past with the clickety-clack of a railroad track. The hard times are fading into the past. The hard times are fading into the past. Roll on with your clickety-clack. Roll on round the bend. Roll on towards the sun with the clickety-clack of a railroad track. Rolling on with the wind in my back. Rolling on with the wind in my back. Woo! I feel that wind. Yoo-hoo! We prefer warm breezes here. Woo-hoo! Hard times, they go clickety-clack. Hard times, roll right past. Hard times, think of the past with a clickety-clack of a railroad track. Hard times are fading into the past. Hard times are fading into the past. Train stop with your clickety-clack. A train stop. Wanna get on board? Train stop. You got to carry me towards clickety-clack of a railroad track. The next stop is Easy Street. The next stop is Easy Street. Woo woo! Board up. Might as well get on the train to Easy Street, wouldn't you say? Right? Okay. Not just make a decision. Get on that train to Easy Street. Okay, right now I'm going to invite Hal and Liza to come join us on the stage. Thank you guys for being here. Welcome. Yay! Hi, Liza.
Thanks for having us.
Hello, Hal.
Hey, good to see
Lovely
you.
to see you.
Absolutely.
Now, Hal and Liza, is the Illumination Project your main, are you guys the Illumination Project? Are you Rising Light? Are you,
Yes.
We are both.
We
okay.
are both.
The Illumination Project is our nonprofit, and Rising Light is the community outreach program of the Illumination Project. So they're kind of intertwined.
Right, and you live here in St. Pete,
St.
Florida,
Pete.
but you travel all around.
Yes, we do.
Do you want to talk about that? Or what should we talk about first?
We could talk about how we started the Illumination Project and what the vision is.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Do you want to go first?
Sure. The Illumination Project was started sort of like, I don't know, I had got sick for a while and reevaluated everything that I was doing in my life, and we both really decided that life is too short, and there's a lot of good things that can go on out there, and we should jump on that ship and start participating. And we really did want to outreach to people, so we had the idea coming up with how do we figure out how to make life a little better, or we didn't want the get a job, you pay your rent, you do your insurance, you do all this stuff, and life is kind of like just jammed down this path that you take that's already kind of decided for you, and there had to be a better way to live. So we really had this idea that we needed to find out how are other people doing it. So we came up with the idea that the best way to do it is to research it. So, and we read books and all that, and that's great, but actually getting out and seeing people and how they're doing things has been a
Especially
big
like
thing. So,
intentional communities,
Intentional
living
communities.
sustainably is really what our bigger vision. We used to live on the Blueberry Patch property and had a house where we were sharing our
Right.
resources. We had a garden, we had chickens, we were having musical and art events, we had a kiln and clay, and so we would have Tuesday nights where we all made cool pottery and enjoyed each other's company. And there were parts to it though that we were realizing, especially with the social dynamics of how to keep a community together, that was like, there has got to be a better way. Other people have been doing it for a lot longer. So And I've also at the same time had just graduated from Eckerd College and focused in human development and working with kids who are in the foster care system and who really need people who love them, care about them, give them the therapy they need, but also teach them how to be sustainable. A lot of the children who age out of foster care system end up either homeless or in prison because they've never been taught how to build their own house or how to garden their own food, and it's just so expensive to live this way if you don't have a support system. And so the vision is to eventually start our own community where we can bring those children in. And I went to school for expressive arts therapy, so kind of giving them the therapy with different art modalities, but also teaching them how to garden, how to use sustainable things like composting, compost toilets. So we've been studying those and going to different states and
I
see
know, it's
what
exciting.
they do.
Hal, you built a little teardrop trailer. He built his own little teardrop trailer. It's absolutely cute as a button. And you guys got in that, and you've taken, several trips across the country
We have taken
visiting intentional communities.
Mm-hmm.
And can you give us like two things that make an intentional community work? I always thought there had to be, it seems to me these communities a lot of times have like one central person, but I guess it's got to go further than that.
Sometimes. So we find that there are sometimes kind of like a person that heads it up and they kind of like have the idea to it. But most of it is a grouping of people coming together and sharing ideas. And a lot of times people have focused on the aspect of the growing and the structures and the utilities and different things and how you get solar and all that. But a really big aspect that we found out really early on, and it's really important, is the social aspect. Music, bringing people together, family dinners, people having social, and the social problems that you run. When you put a lot of people together, you're bound to have some social problems. People are going to have conflict, people are going to have differences. I want to do it this way, you want to do it that way. So, you have to have
Conflict
things in line.
resolution.
Conflict
Right,
resolution.
exactly. So the intention behind how are we going to resolve this when something comes up, and kind of coming with that agreement before the fights start. Because a lot of times people don't even want to talk about the potential of fighting. And if you aren't thinking about the fact that sometimes two humans are going to have a disagreement, that's just the silliest thought, and especially if you're raising kids together, if you're making decisions that are based off of all of us. Also accountability, like, am I doing more work than this person, even though it's different types of work, so it's hard to measure how hard you're doing if yours is all computer, getting their website and getting all of your organization done that way, versus the person who is, moving all the mulch all day and sweating. How do you balance that and agree upon it? How do you share meals together and clean up? That is a big deal. Animal husbandry, which is huge and an important topic to think about, because some people really have different ideas of how to treat animals and how to care for animals and what these animals are supposed to do in our relationship with them.
And we visit some communities that don't even believe in,
Animal raising.
raising them,
Yeah.
or using them as objects, more of a vegan type.
No.
Well, the idea is that we're all wild animals, so when you're trapping an animal in a cage and making them do that, it's kind of trapping yourself too. And so that's been really interesting. And when we came back from our first trip in 2014, our friends Johnny, Nickel, and Shay, and Cassandra had started this organization, and a few others, including our friend Erin. They started this organization called Rising Light, and it's going to music festivals and other events and having a bunch of fun teachers come and teach different classes. And they kind of passed that on to us because they weren't able to keep it functioning, and so that's been our new thing.
Why did you take it on? How did you feel like that dovetailed with your original mission?
Well, we teach classes on what we've been learning, so it's a great place for us to be able to teach the different things that we've been learning from the social aspects, communication, skill building, also showing the teardrop that Hal built, which is completely solar and off-grid, and we have our own space, so anytime we visit a place, we have our own situation, and people want to see that, and they want to see it in action. And then we have all these amazing teachers and friends who want to share their gifts too. So
It was a natural fit for us. It really was, because we've been doing the research part, but we're also working on the development and then also implementation of our practices and stuff. And this way, Rising Light gives us a chance to teach and show that there are other ways of doing things and practical experiences. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so your eventual goal would be to have your own community?
Community
That's the
center and
eventual goal.
community.
Yeah. We see ourselves starting a community center here, somewhere in St. Peter, Gulfport, and we've been looking for people to sponsor us, people who want to give us a building to plug into. We think that we could be able to keep the funds going, but we need an initial of the investors.
Yeah. We had opportunities for properties, and they haven't really fit for us, and we didn't want to compromise. We really want to have a successful program, and to highlight it here in St. Pete, showing that, like, in the city, you can actually do this and have a community within the city.
And so the things that you've learned, have they making your life easier? Do you think your
Yeah.
life is easier? Like communication, clear communication.
Definitely. And also, so yeah, us just in ourselves, but also the way we deal with other people. We feel like we're better communicators and better listeners, which I think is one of the biggest part of communication, is really taking the time to not become defensive or trying to step on somebody else, but really listening to what they're communicating through their heart and through kind of in between too, and kind of being able to reflect that for people. But also learning how to be as sustainable as possible, like from dishwashing techniques to composting toilets to our solar panels and having, all of our energy just from the sun. And yeah, we've learned a bunch of cool things that we get to show people in action.
Yeah, we've changed our lives a lot. We've really grown
Gardening
since we've
techniques.
been doing this, and we've been the elimination of projects is what 4 years plus old.
4.5
basically.
years, yeah.
And yeah, we've had that little teardrop all over the U.S. learning all about all kinds of things, and it's really been great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people. Well, we thought this was like we had something new, and it was like we were going to set the world on fire kind of thing. But it's amazing. A lot of people out there are doing it. A lot of people are doing it with success.
What, the world's already on fire?
The world's already on fire. Yeah, it's already
Yeah,
on
that's
fire.
what Bruce found out. It was lava flow.
Yeah, exactly.
Aw.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's in pockets all over, and really villages that's how we all started in the first place. It's really going back to what our
Back
nature
to-
is. The reason why we have survived to this point is because we are social creatures, and we've gotten out of that, being told that we need to be independent and pull our own bootstraps up, but in truth, we are actually interdependent, and that's the reason why we've survived and we elevate together. And so we celebrate that instead of try to do everything on our own.
So there's probably not one model of something that works. Probably different communities work for different people. Some are probably more regimented and
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but play is essential.
Play
If you don't have
key.
a sense of play, if people aren't enjoying what they're doing, they all just disappear. It's really important, and we found that people who really have only focused in on the gardening aspects or their electricity stuff and have forgotten to enjoy each other's company, then they don't want to be a part of it anymore. So play is our biggest thing, and that's why we call all of our classes play shops.
I know, I love like OBJ, but I love that festival and going to the Rising Light tent and playing and just having a nice atmosphere, comfortable atmosphere within a festival to just relax and that sort of thing.
Yeah, but we also have yoga classes every morning, and we do edible herb walks and learning how to use herbs for medicinal things. And we also have communication skill building, but then also we'll pull out a giant parachute and we all play with the big parachute and roll
Do you
over
have
mountains.
one communication tip that you could pass on? Other than listening, which you've already...
I was just getting ready to say, always remember to listen. Always give a person room to listen. And Liza and I still are practicing that all the time. And you get in a position sometimes and you want to make your point or you want to be clear on something. It's better sometimes just to wait and let that person speak, because when a person's speaking, they really want to get something out. And the more listening you do to that person, the quicker they'll get it out, and then you could actually get to what you want to say too. But if you listen to that person, you really take that in, you might actually change what you're going to say the next time, when you're getting ready to speak. So the listening part is really crucial. So I think a lot of people are learning that we need to just listen sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I always like that talking stick in a group. Where you have one person has a stick or something in their hand, and they're the ones that gets to talk, and nobody gets to talk until you finish your piece, and then you pass the stick to someone else.
Yeah.
Because that gives everybody the same amount of space. Because some people are butter inners and talker louders like me, and other people are more reserved and quiet, so they wait and, yeah.
We try to look out for the people that are being quiet to make sure, too, that they, we leave space for that. Because
Right.
people sometimes just really do need that space. Give them that space. Because if
Yeah,
you
being a
don't-
good facilitator means checking your group and finding who hasn't said a word and get their opinion on the subject, because they've been thinking about it the whole time, so they got something.
Yeah, and
Even better.
reflecting too, like hearing what a person says and then saying, what I hear you saying is this. And when you do that, it allows that person to hear themselves too. And it also builds that connection between the two of you, because you're actually taking the time to care about what they think and what they're saying and what they're feeling. Because whatever it is that's coming up, there's needs that want to be met. And a lot of times we'll get defensive and like forget the compassion in whatever the person's communicating, especially if they're yelling at you or freaking out. It's like hard to be compassionate. But if you do take the time to hear what is it that they're saying they're missing, what is it that they need, and reflecting that back, it really just dissolves a lot of the conflicts.
Dissolving conflicts, I like that. All right, well, thank you so much. We
Yeah.
really appreciate your taking the time to be
Yeah,
here. Please, y'all look them up.
Yeah, we have a
And-
website which is www.beaming, BEAMING, love.org, and we make our own T-shirts if anybody's interested in supporting. We have stickers.
Stickers and T-shirts, yay! All right. Well, thank
for
you so
having us.
much. Thank you for coming and being on our show. We really appreciate you taking the time. Yay! Oh my goodness. All right. Well, we've got a few more minutes, and so we're going to get Bud and John to come back up here and sing. Did anybody want to taste this fabulous spy lampy? Spell that. He can't spell it. I can't spell it.
It's on the.
It's on the.
No, it's on the postcard.
It's on the postcard. Okay.
SPILANTHES.
Okay, we got a brain in the back. SPILANTHES. Spylanthus. Anybody in the audience wants to have? Okay, here you go, Tim.
And also, there's another name.
And there's other names there's other names for it.
Never done it.
I posted on the feed as
I want my
well.
tongue to be electrified.
It's a real experience.
All right.
Just
That
take a little.
is an experience. You put it in your mouth, and it does that. It just kind of makes your mouth go all tingly. And all right. So, but we got Bud. Come on up here, kids. We have Bud and John. We're gonna bring them back. All right. Everybody's had to put on their winter coat. We got a little winter coat.
Oh yeah, and I've got
That was
no
very
hair,
informative.
so
And a beanie.
Brush your fingers for the.
there we go. I feel very French this way.
Do you have a song that you're planning on playing? Why don't you tell us the story about this song before you play it?
Well, this is a song about the joys of marriage.
Oh, the joys of marriage.
Yes,
I've never been married, by the way.
I've been married since the late Carboniferous period, I think it was, and my wife likes to say, people say, how long have you been married? And I tell everybody, well, it's 32 years for her, 27 for me. So marriage, it's
You mean
a fun.
it's relative?
It is relative. There's an equation for it,
Okay.
and I'm going to get a T-shirt with that equation on it. But this is a song about the joys of being married. You might want to turn in a little bit here. There you go.
Come on in.
Here we are,
I'm gonna let
rearranging
you
the
all
furniture.
sing. Rearrange furniture and sing it up.
Dorothy Louise, the love of my life. She's mad at me 'cause I stayed out all night. Oh, mama, won't you let me come home? Up on the porch, pointing at me, he said, you stayed out all night, you can stay out all week. Oh, mama, won't you let me come home? Well, I've been drinking red wine, gambling till dawn. Did not see a woman all night long. Honey, believe me, I hope that you can let me come back inside. I'm an innocent man. I only want to lay down on our bed. She told me to sleep out with the dog instead. Well, mama, won't you let me come home? Et toi? I've been drinking red wine, gambling till dawn. Did not see a woman all night long. Honey, believe me, I hope that you can let me come back inside. I'm an innocent man. The doghouse is big, sometimes it's clean, but that old dog is much meaner than me. Well, mama, won't you let me come home? Oh, mama, won't you let me come home? Oh, mama, won't you let me come home? Thank you.
Oh, wow, you guys brought the rain with that song. We got a little sprinkle.
Oh, no way.
We're glad we're undercover. I tell you, life out here in the wild.
It's in the wild. We're out here. This is Florida, you know. This
Ah.
ain't no tame place.
Like 65 degrees in the rain, and we're
I'm gonna
all.
move to Florida where it's warm.
Yeah. Now, when you wrote that song, for example,
Yes.
what's your songwriting process?
Well, mostly my songs are stories. And, you know, I mean, a lot of people write songs about how they feel or their what they think about the world, and I'd rather illuminate it in a story, you know. Show what's going on, show your take on things going on around you by illuminating it in a story. And I feel that's, I've always
Like
been
Aesop's
attracted.
fables.
Huh?
Like a fable.
Yeah. And so I've always been attracted to songwriters who did that, and rather than just say, well, here's how I feel and I love you and like that, I, you know, rather put it in the context of a story. So I've always done that. And, you know, I also wrote a lot of songs for shows in the theater, so I got used to doing songs that were stories or character pieces, you know. Where some character describes who he is by means of his actions, what he's doing.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we must admit that the three of us have been to many open mics together, and there's a song in A.
I forgot what key this is in.
It's in A.
This is in A. Okay.
And we used to all play a lot at the Monja Gourmet, and we'd finish the night out with this song. And so we're going to finish this show out with this song. It's called Bushel Basket. Carry my rain in a bushel basket. Hopefully there won't be a whole bushel basket full so we can get home. Sing along if you know it. I don't jump freight trains when they roll by. I don't like the blues, and I'll tell you why. I go downtown when I want to smoke. Oh, and I'm treating life like a joke. But I won't go sinning in my neighbor's yard, 'cause he's been working mighty hard. I go downtown, but I don't wear shoes. And you know I don't sing the blues. Carry my rain in a bushel basket, carry the sunshine through. Carry my rain in a bushel basket, let the sunshine through. Carry my rain in a bushel basket, carry my rain in a bushel basket, carry my hear some guitar. Won't get cross if you smile at me, and I'll throw my troubles out to sea. Don't wear black or need a heart attack, 'cause we could be happy. How about that? Don't think much about what could go wrong. I don't want to sing about it in a song. I'll look at you and shake my head. Lord knows, some people they'd be better off dead.
Carry my rain in a bushel basket, let the sunshine through. Carry my rain in a bushel basket, let the sunshine through. Carry my rain in a bushel basket, carry my rain in a bushel basket, carry my rain in a bushel basket, let the sunshine through.
Play us some harp there. Woo, you're bringing out the sun. Keep going. Don't see Saturn when I look at the stars, but I know it's out there and so's Mars. Don't think much about the evening news. Lord knows I do not sing the blues. I don't like ham, but I do like toast. I certainly don't care who you hate the most. I don't care how it's always been done. You could give in, but still keep some.
Carry my rain in a bushel basket, carry the sunshine through. Carry my rain in a bushel basket, let the sunshine through.
Everybody sing loud.
Carry my rain in a bushel basket, carry my rain in a bushel basket, carry my rain in a bushel basket, let the sunshine through.
And let your sunshine through. All right, well, something happened and it was good. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Turn in 2 weeks, February 3rd. We have a new show coming for you. Thank you all so much for being my guest.
Thank you.
Goodbye, Facebook. Goodbye, live audience. Goodbye, podcast world. Yay!